Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here. How you guys doing? Or Terrell Game Vlogs here to bring you my teen romantic comedy SNAFU episode 4 review. This is when Yui makes her decision. I just bought the Samsung Galaxy S6, so I'm trying out the camera on here because it says that the quality is technically better than the my normal camera. So we're gonna try this. So if this video looks kind of wonky, that's probably why, because I just got this like maybe a few hours ago, and I'm not entirely familiar with all the settings yet. I haven't really sat down and gone through everything, but that's besides the point. That's not what you're here for. You're here to talk about Yui and her decision. So I guess we'll start from the beginning. I think almost everybody collectively has agreed that Hayama earned some points in this episode because he essentially pulled a hickey. Actually, what I would like to call this episode is biting off a Batman. That's what I want to call this episode, because that's what everyone did. Everyone bit off a hickey. Everybody self-sacrificed in some way. Hayama did it, Yuki Noshita did it, and Yui's doing it. And it's like, yo, what is happening? So I guess the first thing to address, which is the part that starts off, first off, Komachi's still mad at Hikigaya this entire episode. Also, a lot of people were wondering, when the fuck did Harano get Komachi's phone number at the beginning? I actually went and looked it up. Apparently in the light novels during that whole episode in the anime where Yui and Hikigaya go to the festival together and they run to Harano, Komachi apparently was there, and that's how they got her number. So that's how the sisters know each other. But that was never shown in the anime, so for those wondering, that's how she has her number. But getting on to the main point, so the date, which was the majority of the damn episode, which we'll at least have anyway. We learn, for those who don't understand, pretty much Hayama essentially set up the date specifically and wanted Hikigaya to come specifically because he wanted to do what he does at the end of the day, which is commit social suicide, tells the girls off, and then uses Yuki Noshita and Yui as he's not as bad, he's not as pathetic or as weak or as much of a loser as you think he is, aka, hey, look at these two pretty girls he's with. That's what he did. And Hayama, I gave respect to, because I didn't think, even though you can tell he hates doing that, he even says it afterwards. He's like, I don't ever want to do that again. Which I feel I'm kind of mad about, and at the same time, because he essentially is saying he does not want to commit social suicide again because he doesn't like the way it feels, which is pretty much being abrasive and telling it like it is. Like I don't know why he feels like like the way he said that came off kind of like you didn't understand. Like it's like it feels bad to be honest and to tell the truth, because she knows. Even though he and Yui kind of come to the conclusion that they rely on him and then get mad at him, knowing how they handle things, knowing how Hickey handles things. So they kind of both go through their own sense of development here in this episode. But getting into the major crux of the matter, which is the date itself, we do get the monologue in which he kind of goes over. He pretty much, remember in the first season how he called Yui a nice girl and how he hated nice girls? That's what Orimoto is. Orimoto is a nice girl that he was like, she's probably one of the first nice girls he met. And because if you notice, it's not like she was outright being malicious towards Hickey, but she kind of has my kind of humor where she's kind of a dick about everything. Except she'll go in on Hickey, which really didn't make any sense because she doesn't go in on anyone else. But it's kind of like Hikigaya says, she does that to keep everyone away from her. Like anyone anyone she's normal with, she'll bust out like that. But like anyone she wants to be closer with, she won't do it. I also love how Hayama called him out because he did that creepy smiling shit where he's like, I hate you. Like he did one of those and it was like, yo, what? He's like, I think that like that my jaw dropped. Was like, yo, Hayama, yo. Oh my lord. But at this point, this episode really outlines the Hikigaya's issue currently. everyone, because Hayama outright says in this episode, it's like, dude, you need to have more fucking self-respect for yourself. And Hikigai is still in fucking now thinking that it's like it's like he keeps thinking, because everyone else sees it as for what it is. He's self-sacrificing himself because he doesn't view himself highly, which is why we relate to him so much. That's why a lot of the fans love him, because you relate to a character who doesn't have high self-esteem. The problem is, his character flaw is that his self-esteem is too low, to the point in which he absolutely fucking refuses to think of himself any better, which is why he'll continue to throw himself under the bus, even though I think he knows that he's hurting people around him, because he doesn't. He's pretty much rejecting the truth of the situation, which is why, unlike first season where you were calling all hype for Hikigai because he had all these cool monologues, the reason why you enjoyed him there is because he was in the right a lot of the time. Here, he's in the wrong. He's clearly in the wrong, and he's struggling so much. But you want him. I want him to change, but as I said before, he's gonna have to be broken down, and it looks like things get relatively back to normal in the next episode. Also, we get to see Iro Roja's true personality, which kind of confused me, because this girl, if you've seen the previews for season 2 before it even came out, she was pushed a lot as if she was going to be a big focal point of this season. And then she's introduced, and you're like, well, what's the big deal? And then this episode goes and kind of realigns why she's somewhat of a big deal. Because apparently she's two-faced as fuck. That scene in the mall where she walks up to him and talking. Also, I don't remember them getting that fucking familiar with each other, but whatever. That scene in itself just kind of made you go, see, and I think that probably makes more sense in the light novel, but in the anime, there was just like a what the fuck thing. You were sitting there going, so you were two-faced as fuck all of a sudden? Which she kind of gave off that impression. Because, like, girls who act overly cutesy in animes usually have a dark side to them. That's especially in this type of show, I knew that was probably the case. Also, the Yumiko scene about him saying, Hikigai is like the only dude who will make you want to see a panty shot even if you don't see a panty shot. Because I have it with Saiga in the first season and Yumiko in this episode. And you're like, they don't show you the panty shot, but like, it's the only time you get like reactions out of Hiki. Hiki saw the panty shot, goes, whoa. I think, what was the translation? He goes, it's like, whoa, pink, unexpected. And then he runs away. It was like, what the fuck was that? It was like, yo, where you going, guy? You started, you might as well finish it, fuck. Yo. And then we have the last half, which is Haruna antagonizing Yukinosha, making her play exactly into her hands, because she related how Yukinosha is currently acting to her mother, and as we've learned, or at least it's been hinted at, she doesn't get along with her mother, aka one of the reasons why she probably lives by herself, and she used that to bait her into running for student council president, because she was like, oh, you're just being like mom, pushing everything off into others. And then Yui's like, and to me, the shit with Yui at the end was probably the best, because a lot of people say it's an indirect confession, which it's not. It's obviously, it's heavily implied, because we know Yui does like Hikigai, but like, it's obvious that wasn't intended to be a confession, but there's a high level of, confession undertones to that damn conversation. And I knew she was gonna have to be. I knew Yui was probably gonna do it, because Yui's actions usually weigh the most on both of those characters. Usually when Yui does something, it's when Hikigai and Yukinosha completely will change more than anything else. Like, that's usually their trigger. And that's exactly what happened. And she's like, I don't want to lose this. And she knows that if Yukinosha wins, she'll be great, but the club will die. She doesn't want to lose the club. Therefore, she's willing to throw herself under the bus. Even though I think Hikigai realizes that Yui can't really do it either. But that's the point. Yui isn't supposed to do it. Yui's biggest strength isn't the fact that she does so much, it's that she does enough. This little effort she's putting in just to, run for presidents against Yukinosha to make sure this shit doesn't go to hell will be enough to push Hiki into the direction he needs to go. And hopefully where he comes to terms with himself. And at least, even if he doesn't change completely, which I don't think he's going to, he needs to change a little bit and acknowledge that he's worth a little bit more than what people give him credit for. Because Yukinosha even kind of hints to that in the argument they have in the damn tea room about where he goes, it's like, well, my plan will just have to cover for the fact that I'm not as important as I think I am, because Yukinosha goes, that's incredibly arrogant to think that people's hatred of you is so easily swayed. Like, and what she's really saying is that people like you more now than they did then, which is obviously referring to what happened in the first season. Because from what I understand, even in the light novel, Saki respects Hachiman. Totsuka obviously does. Zaimokusa, Yukinosha, and Yui. Like, people care about Hikigai now more in the second season than they did in the first season, which I think is what she was hinting to. But once again, she can't really properly convey her feelings, which is why. And she also got easily baited. And we also know that apparently Hayama had a crush on a girl with the letter Y as a last name, which is obviously banking on either Yukinosha or Haruna. I'm gonna bank Haruna because that's the one that they keep talking. That's the one. Every time this shit comes up is when it's mentioned or shown off as this whole. So I think he had a crush on Haruna. I think that he used to hang out with Yukinosha and gained a crush for Haruna, or misinterpreted some signals and got a crush on Haruna and caught feelings, and that didn't turn out right because she even openly burns him in the scene. She's like, I can't stand. It's like, what's fun or interesting about a guy who can handle every situation flawlessly, aka Hayama? Even though that's not true, she pretty much hates pretty boys who are relatively stable. Even though Hayama isn't completely stable, he's obviously got some personality issues, and he for some reason values shallow relationships over fucking real and genuine ones. Which, if you notice in the theme song, that's the other thing. I love opening 2. Opening 2 has really, I feel like, correlates perfectly with this season, because if you look at some of the lyrics are pretty much saying they want something genuine instead of these shallow ass relationships, which is, I think, is what I feel like that will probably be something Hiki will say to some effect in the future. When, I'm not totally sure, but I feel like that is something he's going to say. What am I missing? Am I missing anything else? The only other scene I can think of that I'm missing is that Komachi opens up the door, which means she's about to lose her shit at the end of the episode. That's the only thing I'm missing. Iroha's two-facedness doesn't really make too much sense in the anime. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, to be perfectly honest. We will get to see some Zaimoka. I think I see Saki and Zaimokusa in the episodes. And granted, Saki was in the trip episode too. I thought they. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out here. I'm gonna go Saki x Totsuka as like a shipping, because it's not really hinted or pushed, but there's like a scene in the when they're in the haunted house in episode, I think, 2, and it's like Saki, Totsuka, Yu, and Hachiman. And it's like this really cute scene where Saki's scared, but she doesn't like show it, and she freaks out in the background and runs off, and Totsuka runs off with her. By the way, Totsuka, you run like a girl. Thank you for just pushing that stereotype even further. I don't really think there's anything else really to touch other than that. Yui's martyrdom will spur Hikigai into action. Because Hikigai, it's become obvious now that Hikigai has been way more affected than this than he would have even liked himself. Even to the point where if you saw the scene with Harutsuka where he mentions to her that Yukinosha is going to run for president, if from his perspective he thought that she wasn't, that everyone else knew, so he was like, whatever. But the fact that no one else knew, that was like one of the first times I had ever seen Hikigai confront Yukinosha about anything. That shows how much the relationship has changed and how things are different between them now. And it also shows the tension through the argument, even though the argument is still hinting that she wants him to value himself more. Even though he won't admit it, I feel like either that'll be his thing for the end of the season, or at least the end of this arc. But overall, a really good episode. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was actually a good mix of legit, interesting, cool moments and like crazy drama, tension shit. Try to watch this video in 1080p if it's available. I'm curious to see how good the quality is on this phone. But anyways, this has been Vlogs and Game from your boy Terrell. Don't want to cover up the camera. And I'll catch you guys later. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Peace out.